Have you ever stopped to wonder why life sometimes feels like an uphill battle, even when nothing is really wrong? It's not that the world is out to get you. The truth is, much of your suffering comes from within. The complaints, the overthinking, the constant replay of what-if scenarios. They all create a storm in your mind, even when the skies around you are clear. And here's the kicker. It doesn't have to be this way. That heavy mental baggage you're carrying, it's optional. Most people live as if they're at the mercy of the world, reacting to every setback, insult, or discomfort, like they're powerless. But there's another way, a better way, rooted in the timeless wisdom of Stoic philosophy. Marcus Aurelius, the great Roman emperor, proved this during his reign. Imagine ruling an empire at war, facing betrayal, loss, and disease, yet maintaining peace within. How? By mastering the art of separating what truly matters from what doesn't, and staying anchored in reason and virtue, no matter the chaos. Here's where it gets interesting. Modern science backs what the Stoics taught centuries ago. Studies on emotional resilience and mindfulness show that the key to happiness isn't controlling every aspect of your life. It's learning to let go of what you can't control. Stoicism isn't just for ancient philosophers or emperors. It's for anyone who wants to feel lighter, freer, and more in charge of their emotions. Who wouldn't want that? Curious to know how Stoicism can help you stop sabotaging your own happiness? Keep reading to discover practical lessons from this ancient philosophy that can transform the way you think about your past, your future, and the only moment you truly own, the now. Few figures in history managed to embody wisdom and power quite like Marcus Aurelius. As a Roman emperor, he ruled one of history's greatest empires, yet his heart clung to simplicity, virtue, and inner peace. Unlike his contemporaries, who often drowned in excess and ambition, Marcus Aurelius chose the path of restraint and humility. Guided by Stoic principles, he viewed power not as a privilege, but as a responsibility to serve others. His reflections, immortalized in meditations, remind us that even amidst the chaos of an empire, one can seek and find tranquility within. Marcus Aurelius stood as a vivid contrast to many Roman emperors who craved luxury and sought fleeting pleasures. This man, however, valued self-discipline over indulgence and wisdom over wealth. His desire was not to dominate fortune, but to flow harmoniously with nature's course. As he often wrote, living in accordance with nature wasn't simply a philosophy, it was the highest art of living. Imagine an emperor who would pause during times of war to ponder kindness and acceptance. That's the legacy of Marcus Aurelius. What makes Marcus Aurelius remarkable, though, isn't just his status as a ruler, it's his dedication to living virtuously despite his circumstances. According to the Stoics, virtues like justice, self-control, and courage are the pillars of a good life. Marcus Aurelius faithfully practiced these virtues, seeing his position not as a title to boast, but as an opportunity to act with reason, humility, and care for humanity. His life showed us that true freedom lies in mastering oneself, not in mastering others. But let's face it, embracing such wisdom in the modern world can feel like a lofty ideal, right? The truth is, Marcus Aurelius wasn't writing meditations to impress anyone. It was a private exercise in self-improvement. It's astonishing to think that such profound thoughts were simply meant to guide one man through his day. Yet those thoughts remain timeless, proving that the principles of Stoicism can shape a life of virtue, even for those of us juggling ordinary, modern responsibilities. One of the most transformative lessons Stoicism offers us lies in understanding the difference between what we can control and what we cannot. Marcus Aurelius frequently reminded himself of this simple yet profound principle. Our thoughts, actions, and attitudes are within our domain, while external events, other people's opinions, and even fortune itself are not. Epictetus, another great Stoic teacher, likened these uncontrollable elements to the weather. You wouldn't cry over the rain, you'd grab a coat and adapt. So why waste energy on events outside your grasp? This principle is laid out clearly in Epictetus and Enchiridion. It's a wake-up call for how we emotionally invest in things that lie beyond our reach. When you obsess over external validation or fume about something someone said, you're handing them the strings to control your mind, like a puppet. The Stoics believed personal freedom came from cutting those strings and grounding yourself in what's under your control. Your reactions, your perspective, your actions. Think about it. How often do we stress over a future meeting, obsess over a mistake, or agonize about someone else's opinion. These thoughts hijack our mental peace. A Stoic would say, "Why carry that burden?" Focus instead on your behavior, which is the only tool you have to influence outcomes. Imagine how freeing it would feel to stop letting traffic jams ruin your day, and instead, enjoy the extra time to listen to a podcast or reflect. The beauty of this principle is that it's not about apathy or giving up. It's about empowering yourself to act rationally in your sphere of influence. When you focus on what you can control, like practicing kindness, even when others are rude, you reclaim your internal stability. Marcus Aurelius put it perfectly: you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Life has a way of throwing curveballs, doesn't it? Losses, disappointments, failures, they come uninvited. But Stoicism teaches us a profound way to endure pain. Care less about what you cannot control. It's not about detachment from life itself, but freeing yourself from the emotional slavery of external forces. Marcus Aurelius wrote that we suffer less from events themselves and more from our judgments about them. So if you're angry about someone's criticism, consider, is the comment hurting you, or is your reaction to it the real source of pain? When you allow external opinions or failures to dictate your emotional state, you're handing over the keys to your peace of mind. Let's say someone makes an unfair assumption about you. It hurts, no doubt, but as the Stoics would remind us, their words are just noise. The real damage happens when you let those words settle in your mind, like unwelcome tenants who refuse to leave. Instead, by caring less, you're not denying reality, but refusing to let it take power over your inner world. Stoicism offers simple yet actionable strategies to combat this. First, practice acceptance. If life doesn't go as planned, don't resist the outcome emotionally. It's like trying to block a river with your hands. Instead, flow with it. Second, focus on strengthening your internal state. Meditate on this question: is this really worth my peace of mind? Imagine how much lighter you'd feel if you stopped fighting battles that, in truth, don't matter. Caring less isn't giving up. It's gaining back your emotional energy. But let's be clear, Stoicism doesn't mean shutting yourself off or being indifferent. It's about learning which battles to fight. When you focus on your inner virtue, like patience and resilience, adversities no longer knock you down as easily. Marcus Aurelius understood this well, and by minding less, he freed his mind to focus on what truly mattered: living well. So, speaking of adversities, have you ever noticed how much of our suffering stems not just from the present, but from our warped relationship with time itself? Let's reflect on Stoic insights into the past, present, and future. Time is a slippery thing, always slipping through our fingers, yet commanding so much of our attention. The Stoics taught that our suffering often arises from an unhealthy fixation on either the past or the future, leaving us blind to the opportunities in the present. Seneca famously said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Marcus Aurelius shared the same wisdom. Never let the future disturb you. Both men understood that time becomes an adversary only when we fail to face it with reason and clarity. The future, for instance, is a vast canvas for fear and worry. How often do we torment ourselves with what-if scenarios that may never come true? Perhaps you're losing sleep over a presentation, imagining every way it could go wrong. In situations like these, the Stoics advise grounding yourself in reason and preparation. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, deal with challenges as they come, trusting that you'll have the strength when needed. Why let today's light be dimmed by shadows that don't yet exist? The past isn't any kinder. Memories can be seductive, constantly calling us back to regret or nostalgia. The Stoics, however, viewed the past as inaccessible, a book that's already been written. Obsessing over events you can't change is like arguing with yesterday's weather. Instead, take the Stoic approach. Learn from the past, but don't live there. As Marcus Aurelius often mused, the man lives only in the present. So, focus on what's in front of you, as it's the only place where life truly happens. And then there's the present. The Stoics' ultimate refuge. The now is where everything unfolds, where you can exercise virtues like patience, courage, and kindness. Imagine viewing adversity not as a curse, but as a stage to practice these virtues. Got stuck in traffic? Practice patience. Faced with an unexpected change, embrace flexibility. Living in the moment requires discipline, but it liberates you from the weights of the past and future. Now, once we accept time's flow, it leads us naturally to another principle. How do we embrace what we can't control, like nature's whims and fortuna's unpredictability? To live is to bow, willingly or not, to the laws of nature. This is a core Stoic teaching. The universe operates on its own accord, indifferent to our desires. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on this in meditations, reminding himself to accept life's course as part of a grander natural order, whether it's aging, illness, or the unpredictability of fortuna. The Stoics saw these as unavoidable realities we must face with grace. Resisting them, as Marcus put it, is no better than a pig kicking and screaming on its way to sacrifice. Pointless and unwise. What does this acceptance look like in practice? It starts with recognizing that some things, like natural disasters, death, or even someone else's rudeness, are outside of our control. Let's say bad weather ruins plans for an outdoor event. Frustration won't turn gray skies sunny. Instead, the Stoic approach would be to pivot. Find joy in the alternative, perhaps by making an impromptu indoor memory. As Marcus Aurelius would advise, rather than curse the storm, work with it, adapt, endure, grow. At its core, the acceptance of nature and fortuna is a lesson in humility. The Stoics saw us as small but integral parts of a much larger system. This is not to diminish our worth, but to remind us that life's ebb and flow is not personal. That job you didn't get, not the universe punishing you, but simply another turn in life's fast current. By aligning yourself with nature, doing your part with integrity while accepting outcomes, you build resilience and preserve your tranquility. When we embrace this perspective, adversity transforms into a teacher rather than tormentor. Accepting nature and fortune isn't about passive resignation. It's about finding strength in cooperation with the inevitable. And when we stop pushing back so hard against what we cannot change, we free ourselves to focus on cultivating the virtues that give life meaning. It's here that we start to master the Stoic art of living, rooted in virtue and detachment. So let's explore this next. What does it mean to live a life devoted to virtue? If life is an art, virtue is the brush with which we paint it. For the Stoics, virtues like wisdom, courage, justice, and self-discipline were not abstract ideals. They were the foundation for a life well lived. Marcus Aurelius believed that living virtuously was the only way to achieve true happiness, not through material wealth or fleeting pleasure, but by aligning our actions with reason and moral goodness. Virtue, after all, is something fortuna cannot give nor take away. It's entirely within our control. This is where true inner freedom begins. The Stoics were masters of detachment, not in the sense of apathy, but in valuing things and people for what they are, not for what they give or take from us. Marcus Aurelius would remind himself not to hold on to possessions or even relationships too tightly, because loss is an inevitable part of nature's cycle. Imagine this. Instead of clinging to a fragile vase, you treasure it while it lasts, appreciating its beauty and utility. When it breaks, you let it go with grace, knowing that its impermanence was always part of what made it meaningful. This approach doesn't mean rejecting life's pleasures. It means not letting them weigh down your soul. A Stoic might enjoy wealth if it comes their way, but wouldn't despair if it left. Similarly, they might love deeply, but wouldn't crumble if they faced loss. By focusing on cultivating virtues and detaching from what fortuna offers, the Stoics created a buffer against life's inevitable ups and downs. It's not about feeling less, it's about loving more wisely, with reason guiding your emotions. This balance, living virtuously while detaching emotionally from outcomes, creates a profound sense of resilience. Marcus Aurelius viewed adversity not as a roadblock, but as a sparring match where virtues are strengthened. So, whether life hands you triumphs or tragedies, the art of Stoic living allows you to walk through both with grace and equanimity. Now, as we bring this philosophy full circle, we can reflect on how Stoicism offers a blueprint not just for surviving, but thriving in an often chaotic world. Imagine a life where the chaos around you doesn't dictate your inner peace. This is the gift Stoic philosophy offers, a path to serenity, freedom, and an unshakable resilience. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca weren't just philosophers, they were guides who left us an ageless map for navigating life's difficulties. By focusing on what truly matters, virtue, reason, and self-mastery, They demonstrated that peace isn't found in perfect circumstances, but in mastering the art of living, no matter the storm. Living stoically doesn't require you to renounce the modern world or live in isolation. Instead, it's about reclaiming your power step by step from the clutches of external forces. The next time you're overwhelmed by a challenge, stop and ask yourself, is this within my control? If the answer is no, let it pass like water around a rock. Then, turn your attention to your actions and thoughts. This shift from external concern to internal mastery creates a freedom that most people can scarcely imagine. The beauty of Stoicism lies in its practicality. It's not a theory you study from the sidelines, but a philosophy you live moment to moment. You practice gratitude instead of entitlement, patience instead of frustration, and courage instead of avoidance. For the Stoics, every day brings opportunities for growth, whether it's dealing with an unkind colleague, a personal failure, or even the uncertainty of the future. Adversities, after all, are not obstacles but stepping stones for our better selves. Ultimately, Stoicism invites us to ask, what kind of life do we want to lead? A passive existence, swayed by every gust of misfortune, or a purposeful life, guided by reason, virtue, and an unshakable foundation of inner freedom? The choice is ours, but the tools are already laid out before us, waiting for us to pick them up. What's stopping you? Perhaps it's time to dig in deeper and explore how these ancient teachings can transform the way you see yourself and the world around you. Now that you've walked through the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius and Stoic philosophy, let me ask you something. What's stopping you from applying these lessons to your own life? Seriously, how much longer will you let the uncontrollable dictate your happiness, or allow fear of the future and regret of the past to rob you of the present? Imagine what your life could look like if you focused on your virtues, strengthened your inner freedom, and stopped giving your peace away to external chaos. Isn't it time to step into your own power? Stoicism isn't just an ancient philosophy. It's a guide to reclaiming clarity, purpose, and balance in a world that tries to shake you at every turn. Start small. The next time you feel stressed or overwhelmed, pause. Ask yourself, is this within my control? If it isn't, let it go. If it is, act with courage, wisdom, and tranquility. These simple steps, practiced daily, can be the turning point in how you interact with life's challenges. The real question is, are you ready to start now? So, what's your next move? Are you going to continue living at the mercy of circumstance? Or will you choose the path of inner freedom, where you're no longer a prisoner to fear or external chaos? Let me know in the comments. How will you practice Stoic principles in your life? I'd love to hear your thoughts and reflections. If you enjoyed this journey through Stoic philosophy, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay tuned for more insights. There's so much more to discover, and the next step in your Stoic transformation might just be one click away. Let's keep growing together. One lesson, one virtue, one moment at a time.